All right, we made it to Act 5. This is the final act of Shakespeare's Macbeth, and it represents the conclusion of everything that Shakespeare's been building up in the first 4 acts of the play. So you want to think back into what has happened, how Macbeth and the other characters have changed throughout the trajectory of the play, and what decisions they've made to affect our opinion of them as the audience. In Act 5, Scene 1, a lady-in-waiting and a doctor discuss Lady Macbeth's sleepwalking. As they're speaking, Lady Macbeth enters walking in her sleep. Think especially here of the video we watched on Monday and how she has changed physically from the woman she was in the beginning of the play. She's much less put together, much less glamorous. She looks ill. Her outward appearance is reflecting her inward appearance. She rubs her hands repeatedly to rid them of the blood that she imagines stains them, and from Lady Macbeth's words, the onlookers, which are the doctor and the lady-in-waiting, infer that she and Macbeth have murdered Duncan, but the doctor is afraid to speak of his suspicions. What's happening here is that in her insanity, Lady Macbeth is actually speaking truths that she is not able to utter when sane. This is an interesting thing that Shakespeare often does in his plays. The fools or the mad people will end up speaking things that are truer than what the sane people will speak. And so that becomes a gauge for us as the audience between what is true and what is not true. In Act 5, Scene 2, we arrive at the country near Dunsinane, in which Scottish lords are preparing to join forces with an approaching English army to fight against Macbeth. The lords discuss their plans and Macbeth's reported state of mind. Everyone thinks at this point that Macbeth is crazy and cannot be relied upon, which is pretty accurate given his actions in the later scenes in this act. In Act 5, Scene 3, we meet the witches again. We don't meet the witches again, but we review their prophecies, and Macbeth feels confident that he is invincible inside of his castle. Remember, they said that no man born of woman can kill Macbeth, and that he doesn't need to fear anything until Birnam Woods gets up and walks to Dunsinane Castle. Those are paradoxes that we're going to see fulfilled in just a minute. After that, a servant brings news of the approaching army, and in Act 5, Scene 4, Malcolm orders the soldiers gathered near Birnam Wood to camouflage themselves with branches as they advance toward Macbeth's castle. This is a fulfillment of that prophecy we saw in Act 4. Macbeth was counting on that prophecy to protect him, but really it was just predicting his downfall. In Act 5, Scene 5, Macbeth is in his castle awaiting the approaching army, and he is informed that Lady Macbeth is dead. This is when Macbeth gives his famous tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow soliloquy, declaring that life is meaningless. We discussed the term nihilism when we were talking about this speech, the belief that life and everything that fills life is utterly meaningless and without significance. When a messenger brings news that Birnam Wood is approaching the castle, Macbeth realizes that the witches have tricked him and that he is likely to be defeated. In Act 5, Scene 6, upon reaching the front of Macbeth's castle, Malcolm orders his troops to throw down their camouflage and attack. Seward and his son are to lead with Malcolm and Macduff following. In Act 5, Scene 7, Macbeth kills young Seward. Macbeth exits with Macduff in pursuit, and old Seward informs Malcolm that Macbeth's castle is barely defended by his unfaithful servants. I'm not sure why the rest of that text is not showing up, but what it is meant to say is that Macbeth's castle has fallen, barely defended by his unfaithful subjects. In Act 5, Scene 8, Macduff confronts Macbeth, explaining that he was not born of woman and so can defeat Macbeth. The two men fight and Macduff kills Macbeth off stage. He re-enters with the head of Macbeth, which he presents to Malcolm. Malcolm promises to restore peace to Scotland, and the play finishes. Now, this is a typical tragedy in that the stage is sort of littered with bodies, and the main characters have all died. In fact, many characters have died in this play, which gives even further evidence toward the classification of this play as a tragedy. Things you need to think about Act 5. How does Shakespeare resolve the conflict that he's established in the first 4 scenes? We've seen Macbeth and other characters travel a long way. They've changed a lot. And Macbeth in particular has traveled from glorious and honored warrior to fallen tyrant who has been disgraced by both his people and himself. Think about the scenes that have contributed to that imagery. Think about Lady Macbeth's shift in character. She begins as a very powerful, very self-composed woman, and then she ends up as the picture of insanity and lack of control. So, just a few things to think about. We will discuss this act more in class, but I hope that this was helpful to you in at least organizing the events of the play.